Welcome to the Bleeding Edge Report with Chris and Treg, where tech meets its match. Well, hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Bleeding Edge Report with Treg and Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hey, Treg, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, doing good. We appreciate you stopping by this week, where we try and tackle a topic that is of current interest to everyone. And our goal is to try and peel back the onion a little bit and get to the bottom line on some of these issues. So with that, Chris, what do you have for us this week?
Well, Treg, thanks. I have an update on the tech layoff situation. You know that we've been tracking that since the beginning of the year. And I thought it was a good time at the end of Q1 to check in and see what that trend is looking like. And what I found is, yeah, we're still seeing a lot of layoffs. We had about 167,000 layoffs since January 1st of this year. And that's in addition to what we saw, throughout last year. So there is a trend building there.
So get this straight, 167,000 tech layoffs since the beginning of January in 2023. Yes. Okay.
Yes, that's right. That's right. If we put that in perspective of what the greater job market is doing for the country, you're seeing 6.2 million jobs in the month of February created. So we're still creating jobs, right? 5.8 million were separations, is what they call it. So that's either voluntary or involuntary separations. Layoffs would be an involuntary variety. And within the professional and business services group that most tech jobs are in, that's down by 278,000 in February. So there's a big piece of that is the tech sector in particular is responsible for that. So overall, I think most of the major enterprises are responsible for that number. So you have Google, Microsoft, Meta again, Amazon again. Some of these others are new. Dell and IBM, for example, have announced layoffs since we last spoke about this.
But so Salesforce laid off 10% of the employees, right?
They did. In fact, in January we had just got that announcement, so we talked about that a little bit. You remember they're trying to manage their bottom line by saving $3 to $5 billion this year, right? So we'll come back to that point. We'll come back to that point, right?
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be important to our viewers if we kind of, put this in perspective, because 300,000 layoffs is the number since COVID. So layoffs.fyi is the source that we use for this episode. And they've been tracking since January 2022 tech sector layoffs. The current count is about 300,000 to today. Okay.
So in this time period of this technology industry layoff period of 2022 until now, 300,000 jobs, 300,000 layoffs total. Okay.
So another way to think about it is between January and December 2022 is about 150,000 jobs. And then since January 2023 to now, it's another 160,000, right? Yeah. To get to 300. And
how does that compare to some of the previous periods where we've had?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about, just to put people's minds at ease. That's a significant number. I mean, that's a significant number of people whose lives have been turned upside down with layoffs potentially, right? And we don't know how many got new jobs and if they're of equal or greater contribution to them. But it took me back to when the dot-bomb days of 2000, 2001, and what happened then. And I was really curious about what was the size and scope of that comparably. And what we found out was about 2 million layoffs occurred in the tech sector during 2000, 2001, during what we call the dot-bomb days. Because dot-bomb, for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, It basically meant that people had built up a lot of .com businesses, such as online shopping and this type of stuff, but really the world wasn't ready for it. And so there was a lot of implosion that happened, and a lot of layoffs, a lot of carnage, a lot of businesses just closed. They just ceased to exist. And so it's an entirely different level of magnitude of damage that was caused in the industry at that time compared to what we're experiencing today. And I think you pointed out that this year is this round of layoffs is really caused economically, not from a technological or a hype cycle situation as it was back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
is that okay? Yeah. So I did point that out. I didn't know.
Yes, you did. I thought that was significant, Trek, because back then it was all about the fact that people just weren't ready to consume those services and products.
Well,
and
back then the industry imploded on itself, pretty much. Overpromised, underdelivered, and so it was the industry's fault itself in a way.
Right.
Okay. Whereas now it's more economic.
Right.
Okay. And is it something the industry did? No, it's not. Some tech investors did? No, it isn't. It's just economic. So it's a different situation entirely.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the other observation that I figured out was that this is really a cycle of consolidation, is what I call it. So it's not just employees being laid off, right? It's actually a consolidation of other expense items as well, most notably real estate consolidation, right? And that makes sense because they had so many commercial offices that were only 10% full, or
Now, when you say real estate consolidation, you're talking about larger companies giving up real estate, for example, giving up a building that they lease, giving up lease space, and shrinking the footprint that their employees are having to work in.
Yes, that's right. Even inside that building, a lot of initiatives have been set up where the regularity of working from home versus working at the office has been set up so that they can share hot desks, right? So basically, nobody owns a particular desk. They're all shared. It's just first come, first serve per se. So people are being asked to do things like, hey, you're on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule in the office. Please do not come in on Tuesday because we're full up, right? And so they're trying to really get the utilization of these real estate assets as high as possible. And again, finance driven. It's not a big surprise, but that's a big ticket item. Some of the other things kind of made me smile because I'm happy to see things like 14 varieties of cereal in the break room going away. I'm happy to see the masseuse that you could sign up for during the middle of the day in between meetings. Apparently that service is no longer going to be available in most places, right? From what I've read. And so these ancillary services and resources that were made available, let's say a barista to make your coffee. Well, guess what? You're going to have to make your coffee now. So you're going to have to learn how that machine works in the break room. All of these services are going away, and it's back to the basics. And I think that is extremely refreshing to see. And you're going to get a little bit better, maybe a more mature or more frugal culture out of your workforce, and they're going to be able to perform probably better moving forward rather than focused on ancillary things. Oh, I didn't get my massage today. They're actually focused on getting work done. And I think that is going to put these larger companies in a really good position to come out of the blocks quickly once this economic situation turns.
So right when the trend in 2015, when it started, right when the trend is to try and be super nice to employees, trying to increase employee retention, making little sleep centers for them and all this stuff for these tech companies. In other words, kind of babying them along to make them feel really good. Right when they started doing that, and now it got it kind of in place, now they're having to say, well, we can't afford that now. Sorry,
That's
gone.
right.
that fifth floor that had the beanie bags in it.
That's right.
We had to lease that to, Uncle Joe's Plumbing, down the road, who needs
That's
an
right.
office. So
That's right. They're
everything's
hot
gone.
desks now.
Yeah, they're hot desks. Yeah.
Yeah. The one last thing I'll comment on is, interestingly, I did see that there is investment going on in R&D, particularly in artificial intelligence, which you and I have talked about a few times. I mean, it's no secret, Microsoft ChatGPT, Google Bard, and even lately, I just read about Salesforce.com launched their own Einstein GPT, which is in partnership with OpenAI's GPT, so that they can still stay on the bleeding edge of technology, even through this frugal time. So it's kind of a very interesting balance in the choices that they're making at the large enterprise leadership room, right? So what do you think about that?
I think you got to have some good news. I mean, it can't all be bad news. You got to shed a little, spotlight on something. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, what's going on over here? Don't look at that. We got AI coming or something. Who knows? I think it's a definite plus. I think it's going to be a few years before you kind of have it utilization, be able to see real value coming out of it. But hey, at least it's some good news in this whole mess, you might say.
Yeah, you got to stay on the innovation cycle,
Yes.
even if it's just press releases. Who knows for sure? But that's part of it, and there is some money being spent there. Before we close, I did want to come back and think about our viewers. So if you are working at one of these large enterprises, by brand name, and they haven't announced a layoff yet, I still think that you should be looking for one, because that seems to be a very common strategy for the tech sector right now, is what we just explained on, shoring up the expense line and making sure that they can hit the bottom line for their stockholders. So layoffs, they will probably continue. Do I think that they're going to be as large as what we saw, let's say, in announcements in January? Maybe not, but we'll find out, right? I have a wager with somebody on this video about whether or not we're going to see another spike. We'll talk about that later. So what would I do if I was working in a large company like that?
I know what you should do if you work in a large company.
Tell me.
I think you should make sure you loan your condo up in the ski lodge up in Aspen to your boss and your boss's boss for a week. That's what you should be doing.
That's really sage advice. No substitute for experience, Treg.
That's right.
If you are a small company and you're thinking about one of your exit strategies to monetize your investments is to be acquired, I hope I'm not the first to tell you, but it's just not going to happen this year. That's something else that we noticed, which is not happening. There are not a lot of acquisitions happening this year. It's a year of consolidation. So these large companies are not buying, they're consolidating. So you're going to have to figure out how to, walk, and run your business on your own. And, maybe next year that will turn out to be the best move you ever made. And part of that might be to pick up some of this talent that's being laid off by some of these larger competitors. So something to think about. And that's all I have, Treg. Appreciate the opportunity here.
Well, what I heard you say was we're still having layoffs. And the question is, to me, is are we still going to have layoffs throughout the year? I'm kind of betting we are going to see just as many throughout the year. I know you might disagree with me a little bit on that, but I still see it coming. If the recession's coming, but appreciate the update and appreciate your time, Chris.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it at the end of Q2. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do that. How much money we got on that, by the way?
Well, $10 is $10.
Oh, we got whole $10. Okay, well then I'm covered. So everyone, we appreciate you stopping in for the latest episode. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.